All right, welcome, race fans. Welcome to the semifinals, so to speak, before the season finale at the Fired Up Esports League. My name is Jeremy Stanley, aka the man, the myth, the legend, as Dustin would say. But I'm taking control tonight, and alongside me, I have one of the most popular voices in the broadcast world. I have Terry Radford. Terry, how's it going, man?
I don't think I've ever been introduced like that before, but I appreciate it, Justin. Big fan out there. Well, I'm glad to be a part of Nerditudes. I mean, how often is it you get to come out here and be a nerd, and you get to say it proudly. So, ready to watch the Martin Sports No Slip Max Grip Sim Socks 175, and if that ain't a mouthful, I don't know what to tell you.
I want to know who came up with that name. If it was Scott himself, we'll have to talk with him after. But yeah, it's a big name. But he's got a new sim socks that are in the works. I think they're available for pre-order, if I'm not mistaken. So this pre-race show is sponsored by Martin Sports himself, martinsports906.com. We have about 3 minutes or so before the trucks take the grid. They're currently on the track doing their qualifying laps right now. So I'll just go over a couple sponsors here, get their names out there, because without them, of course, we're not doing this, right? So this is the Sticker Cabana Truck Series. Main sponsor, Sticker Cabana. A lot of premium vinyl decals that they make. As Dustin would say, they can go on and on, which their quality is outstanding. Check them out at Sticker Cabana. Then, of course, Martin Sports, our pre-race sponsor. Martin Sports is actually... it's been cool this postseason as he's doing a set of gloves to each winner in the 4 races. 2 races left, so 2 more sets of gloves ready to claim. But yeah, martinsports906.com. And we have the butt kicker there. I always call it like a D-box style seat for your computer chair. You kind of get the rumble, the feel, the sensation of an actual car without being in one. And there's a pretty good discount right now. You go to your buttkicker.com. and use Nerd TV for 20% off there. So go check them out. And then Nature Bed, educate and medicate. One of those things to where a lot of the veterans are backed by this, and everybody in general. Dustin's a big supporter of it. For any type of PTSD and this kind of that, it's definitely a good thing to take advantage of. It's a God-given thing that he put on this earth, and definitely take advantage of it. And then we have iRacing iFlag, one of our newer affiliates with us here. So it's one of those things. It's kind of cool. A lot of people put on their sim rigs where caution comes out, white flag, green flag. It kind of just puts more of a realism in your sim rig. Is those big flashing lights on the track. You bring them into your house, and it's kind of a cool product. So check them out as well. iRacingIFlag.com. And then Swift Lifestyles, the great energy drinks. It's a big tub of powder that they sell, and it's pretty cheap in comparison. Those $2 energy drink cans. For a decent price, you get way more drinks out of it, and they have some awesome flavors, tons of flavors, really. So check them out as well at SwiftLifestyles.com. All right, so looks like, Terry, they're taking the grid. If you want to go over the starting lineup for us tonight.
I actually feel very bad I called you Justin. It's Jeremy. That's my fault. That's me not reading the notes and being so tired after 5 straight nights. Yeah, so Jeremy Coors is going to take the pole. Josh Benoit will be P2. You got Clayton White. Richard Maglagany is going to be in 4th. Greg Holt, Brooks Dirting, Scott Martin himself, Ron Holmes, Anthony Crownover, Cody Porter, Jeff Converse? Man, he's named after the shoe, I hope. Then you got Andy Branganti, Tim Henderson, Connor Hazel, and Brian Whitney rounds out this 15-car or truck field here this afternoon.
Yes, sir. Yep, they are currently getting in their trucks right now. Looks like they're going to be taking off here just momentarily. Got about 2 pace laps before they take the green flag. And that very long race name, once again, Martin Sports No Slip Max Grip Sim Socks 120 or 175. 175 laps for everybody tonight. So as they're taking the grid, we're going to get our faces off the screen so we can focus solely on the drivers that are gridding up tonight for the semifinal event in their 4-race dash to the championship, which actually it's a pretty close battle, Terry. We got Cody Porter, Josh Benoit, Anthony Crownover, all the top three within 9 points of each other. Pretty darn impressive, I would say. Then you have Clayton White and Richard Malagani. One of the names that you absolutely butchered, but we'll forgive you. It's Malagani. Pretty solid competitor. He's been coming on strong late, and I'm expecting nothing less from him tonight.
I am terrible with names, and people who watch Podium Esports can go ahead and just tell you that one, that I will butcher the easiest name in the world and get the hardest ones wrong. My bad, Richard M. You will be Richard M. For the remainder of this race. I will not try it, but I'm excited to watch the trucks go around here at Iowa. I know that the comparisons here to what you would say, that you would have this one as the a Richmond-esque with a little bit of Dover kicked in with the bankings in the corner, and for these trucks with a little less horsepower than what the Cup and the Xfinity has, and the Xfinity cars have raced here too. It's going to be an entertaining show, especially, I mean, Coors on the front row. That's very scary because he likes to wreck off the start.
I mean, he's one of those Martin Sports drivers out there, and he swears that those gloves actually get him in victory lane. And it's been quite a few weeks since we've seen him there. He's been in podium from here and there, but I know he is looking to be in victory lane tonight, with only just tonight and next week to kind of prove yourself. And, he put up an excellent qualifying time to get himself onto the front row, and we're about to go to see what he can do as the pace truck is about to dip down to get this 175-lap race at Iowa Speedway underway. Just waiting for them to press the go pedal at this point, and we got green flag in the air. Good start there by Jeremy Coors.
Yeah, great start by Jeremy Coors down there on the bottom, and Josh is going to get a good run to the outside, and that's the differing lines we're going to see here. You see the 22 of Richard. He jumps up to the third groove. There's multiple lanes to run here at Iowa, and for the fans that are watching at home, you can race anywhere here. You can go top, middle, bottom, and you can try to slip and slide, but as the tires start to wear down, you're going to see him want to take that high groove a little bit more to maybe preserve a little bit off that right rear.
Yeah, it's this track's kind of entertaining, and I'm terrible at Richmond personally. I'm not a huge fan, but I love this track. I drive so much better at it, and it's a very similar track. The corners sweep a little bit more, maybe that's why, and maybe the progressive banking, but it does provide some excellent options for everybody out there to conserve tires. You can set up your truck any which way possible because you have 3 different lanes. As everyone who has driven this track knows, there's a huge bump there on the top of 1 and 2. It kind of throws your truck around, so you have to avoid that. But outside of that, the track is very diverse. I want to make a quick mention here. Cody Porter sitting in 8th. He actually qualified in 10th. He is your points leader. Josh Benoit is currently sitting in 2nd place. He's been putting up way faster times, even back to practice. So Benoit, if he can keep a clean truck tonight, he may be able to prevail and get himself into that top spot entering Indianapolis for the final race.
Well, they're already hitting 23 threes, and I think it's going to be a little bit safe to say that the top 2 in this field are really not holding anything back. They want to get the lead because this could come down into a strategy play. We've seen a lot of races here at Iowa where you can start to clutch in the center of the corner and still get the run off the exit, and you see that right now with what the second-place driver of Josh Benoit is doing. He's coming down into the corner. He's taking a little bit of a lower approach. He'll start right there in that middle groove, start working his way down to the yellow line, and then gets a straight launch off exit so he doesn't clip the wall. He's a long ways away from it, unlike Jeremy Coors, who is working the middle groove, trying not to get and sweep down too low, and then he wants to dive back up. He's going to get the run off the exit, get back into the gas, and he gets inches from the wall.
Yeah, if you can extend that corner as much as possible to get a nice solid exit off, it's beautiful. Though the backstretch, it's a really short backstretch in comparison, so more so the front stretch. So if you get right next to that wall and don't scrub the tires and don't scrub your speed, you're set up for the long run. And I know I'm bad at doing that, so I can't really speak for myself personally, but Jeremy Coors early on is definitely showing that muscle and doing exactly what we just described. Richard Malagani sitting in 3rd place as well. Like I said, he's been coming on strong this past 4 or 5 weeks himself, being only 21 points back of Cody Porter to start this event, sitting in 3rd place. He's putting himself in a good early position.
Well, you got Richard right there. He's going to run the outside. I mean, the way outside, and he's going to allow the 3 car to get by Greg. Holt's going to go into the P3 position to match his truck number. But a lot of these drivers this early in the race were 9 laps in when the leader crosses the start-finish line. They know they have to be patient. They have a ton of ways to go here, and I'm really I'm enjoying these graphics. I'm not used to seeing the ticker down at the bottom.
It's kind of a unique touch that Dustin had come up with, and it looks great. It's kind of cool. Usually on the if you're on a live broadcast in an actual race, it's usually on the side as a tower on the top, but being on the bottom is something unique, and I think, I don't know, and maybe it's just me, maybe it's just playing little mind games, but I feel like it presents the race a little better because everything's just tucked away nice and neat at the bottom. So, yeah, these trucks are starting to get a little spaced out here. Jeremy Coors has got himself about a half a second lead, just slightly over that, over Josh Benoit, and then he's got himself a second and a half advantage over your third place Greg Holt. They're kind of spaced out a little bit, which, with Iowa, it's hit or miss on that. Sometimes they like to drive it in hard early and try to get some spots, but right now they look like they're just taking your advice and saving those tires for the long run.
Well, I feel like right now when you look back at Anthony Crown over and Cody Porter, they're not really having to push the envelope. They're just sitting back minding their own business. And you talked about Cody being the points leader entering this event. Well, he has nothing to lose. I mean, he just knows he has to finish well. And then going into Indianapolis next week, you're either going to come out of here with a very strong finish or you're going to go to 15. So not a whole lot to lose, but Indy's one of those different games. It's a different animal. When you go down to the corner, you're going to get the long straightaways to catch the draft. And then the short shoots are just even more unpredictable because you get a small hint of the draft there, then you have to roll it back down to get back into 2, and then to get back into 3 and to 4. So they're going to try to play it safe, and I would expect some of these drivers who are sitting here from about 5th till about 7th or 8th to start working their way up through the field, up to the top 3, top 2, and maybe even the lead once this run progresses and they get later on in a fuel run.
Yeah, speaking of different animal, different beasts, however you want to call it, the schedule, we've mentioned it past few weeks of how diverse the playoffs have been, being at a short track, which is tonight, being at a super speedway, being at a road course, and then we're going to end it off in a little pretty fast intermediate track. The straightaways, you're getting close to 200 miles an hour, but then, like you said, you have to woe it up to enter the corners, nice sharp 90-degree angled corners, and so every aspect of the playoffs so far has been just. I've been praising the admins like Clayton White and Josh Benoit for kind of setting up the schedule for everybody to really show off who truly can be the champion after the 4 races are all over with.
And that's the biggest key to playoff racing, is you want to showcase the overall talent of the drivers that have entered and punched their ticket into the playoff system. And to allow the drivers who are still in it to go, hey, I'm the best of the best. And when they get to the championship race in Indianapolis, they can really say, when the driver crosses the start-finish lines, man, that guy really had a ton of talent. He was able to sustain a points lead and sustain himself as the #1 driver week in and week out. No matter what course we did, if it was left and rights or just lefts, like whatever you had to do, they made it work. And you see right now with the drivers that are sitting here battling, you see the 1 car of Anthony. He's in a pack onto his own. Everybody else is really kind of separated out. He's got a 2.6 second gap to go catch the leader. So not a whole lot of shakers and stuff up here, but a lot of good racing, especially being 18 laps in. It feels like it's flown by.
Yeah, it has been for sure, and even though they're spaced out, it does feel like it's been moving along pretty quick. Speaking of strategy, Josh Benoit, as everyone knows that's watching this by now, he is the man to watch when it comes to strategy. He always throws us a curveball every single week, and I have no predictability of what he's going to do tonight. Though he's sitting in second place and he's got a decent advantage over the points leader, Cody Porter, if they were to finish where they're at right now, he would be your points leader entering the final event. So I don't know if we're going to see that strategy from him. I mean, it'd be a bold move for him. But then yet again, we've seen him do it every single week. So really can't tell you for sure. Jeremy Coors finally hitting his first lap truck of this evening. Tim Henderson goes 1 lap down here on lap number 20 of 175.
Yeah, you talk about Josh and Jeremy. I mean, there's a ton of strategy that can be played here. You can save a good bit of fuel, and if that's really the picture that Jeremy Coors put out there, man, he looks very confused. He's just like looking back at something like, man, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if this is what I want to do, but yeah, you could play a ton of strategy, and for Josh, I got to catch up on a couple of the races that has happened so far, and to see some of the strategy they've been able to play. I talked about it here. You can roll it into the corners. You can stay a lot off throttle through here. You can rotate the center of the corner and then get the launch off the exit and really back your corners up. This is one of the only places that you don't have to carry a ton of momentum through the center, where you could just let it easily arc it in and then just keep it off the gas. And the more you're off the gas, the less you tear the tires up, and also the more fuel you save. So we'll see if Josh can do that. He's only 1.2 seconds behind the race lead.
Yeah, and for everyone out there who does race and iRacing, for at least the oval side, to be fast, you gotta lean on that right rear. And this being an open setup, like if you don't lean on the right rear, these trucks get really tight on the long run, which not to my liking, anyways. So obviously Tim Henderson there right behind Greg Holt kind of hit the wall there off the exit. It looked like he got tight until the very end there, and he pushed loose a little bit, but. Yeah, with these trucks, how they push so tight, and these corners too, when you hit a bump and your truck's tight, they just shove straight up the track, and then you have to lose a lot of speed to check up and make sure you don't do any damage to the thing. But these trucks just keep getting spaced out right now. Jeremy Coors, going back to him, he's got a 1.5 second lead over Josh Benoit, and then Benoit's got another 1.3 over Greg Holt, and then another 2 seconds back you'll find Anthony Crownover. So things are getting really spaced out. Mover of the race so far, Cody Porter, is currently sitting 6th. It's past 4 trucks. And Crownover, for that matter, is past 5. So those 2 trucks have been moving along kind of quickly, but they've just kind of hit a little stale point of the race and just kind of taking care of their stuff.
We see the battle going on right here between Brooks and Cody. One's in a different groove. The other one wants to go to the bottom, but it's battle of Fords. You see the 99 and the 04. The 99's not able to get the exit the way he wants it to. He gets to get back on the gas, and the back end wants to slide out from under him. But the 04 played it very smart. Stay on the high side. Don't let the other driver dictate where you're going to go in this race, because that's how drivers set you up for the pass. As now, here comes the 99 back to the bottom. The 04 is going to stay to the high side. They're going to drag race through the center of the corner and see if the 99 can hold it there. He washes up just a tad bit, but he stays off of him.
It looked like he hit one of those little bump transitions in that middle to bottom groove, and it just shot his truck up, and he had to do nothing but lift. But yeah, don't let the other driver dictate where you're going. And these guys have such mad respect for one another here, that you can get away with doing things, and you can have the confidence of the guy right behind you to not turn you or not to do this or that. So they did have a rough Talladega last week, but it looks like everything's been set aside and cleared up, and these guys have been running so far pretty clean amongst one another.
Well, the 00 just went a lap down there, but the leaders are really putting down a fantastic pace. I mean, this last lap, they've only fell off a second. For Jeremy Coors, he ran a 23.3 as his best lap time, and he just ran a 24.3. So 30 laps into the run, you start to see a second fall off, and it's going to continuously fall off about a tenth of a second to 0.2 of a second a lap, just until we get to that fuel window, which should be opening up very soon for these drivers. And I'm very interested to see how the driving starts to ramp up. Are we going to see those late race cautions? Is it going to be, shove the people out of the way? Because this being a short track, but also being a very, kind of intermediate banking of a style of a racetrack, you can see the 3 getting up to the back bumper of Josh. I wonder if this was later in the race, we were on lap 170 or so, would he be a little bit more aggressive of sailing it down to the bottom and getting down to the yellow line, or is he just going to continue to keep playing what he's doing now, just barely diming it in and then getting the exit?
And that's one of those things where I've tried to predict over and over, and every time I've been proven wrong, so I just kind of keep my mouth shut and let them do their thing, because they know what they're doing more. They've got all the practice, and Cody Porter actually got pretty loose on the exit of 4. So he's starting to show some wear and tear on those tires. He's currently sitting in 7th place. He's fallen back from Brooks starting. We were watching that battle just a little bit ago. So his truck looks like it's not performing as well as he wanted. Though we did talk to him last week, and he said Indianapolis was his golden ticket. He just needed to survive this track. He didn't have too much praise for it, but it's kind of showing right now. But he said he's super excited for Indianapolis because he thinks he can make up anything and get that championship trophy at the end of the season at Indianapolis.
Well, and most of these drivers have still fell off only a second of their best lap time so far. So, yeah, he's having a little bit of issue on the right rear, but he's also was running multiple grooves. You know, one lap he'll run the bottom, one lap he'll run the middle, and then one lap he'll go to the high side. And when you're in a constant battle with a driver, you begin to drive just a little bit deeper, and you think, okay, well, I've got the grip. I did it last lap. You do it again. And then you do it until the back end steps out, and then it's game over, and, you know, you're pointing towards a wall, which is never a good sign. But the 3 of Greg Holt, he's putting some pressure back there on Josh. He's there. He can figure it out. He's making some moves, and he's running very close lap times to what Josh has been doing, and is staying right in the wake of his draft.
Greg Holt loves to run that bottom every single week. You'll find him there for sure, and he's been taking it pretty easy. And a few years ago, when iRacing implemented that extra tire wear, it allowed drivers to then finally have some strategy to take it easy on the first half of your run and then go for it in the second half. And that's exactly what you're seeing Greg Holt do right now, as he is now just a trunk length away from the 46 of Benoit. And his lap times actually are matching Jeremy Coors. So once he can get around Benoit, which, like I said, he runs the bottom. So I think that's where he's going to have to look. If he can't get comfortable down there trying to squeeze the gap, because I expect Benoit to kind of run down there with him, he might have to venture to the top and actually see Benoit only go to the middle groove there, maybe shifting around a little bit to find some extra speed off the corner, which he does right there. Kind of maintains it in front of Greg Holt.
Well, Greg Holt, he was only 2 100ths off of what Jeremy Coors has ran that last lap, and he wasn't fast on the short run, but I've talked about the long run being the great equalizer. You got Anthony, he just ran lap times sustainable to the leader. Brooks did as well, and a lot of those drivers are starting to work up, because when the tires and the fuel starts to wear off, that's when people's cars start to get just a little bit looser. It gets to getting into their liking. And depending on how they had their steering ratio, it could also, dictate, well, I can't drive it as hard from the initial start, but I can get harder and harder and harder as the run progresses, as the tires start to get some heat in them. And you see the 3 right now, he's finally caught up and has gotten door to door with the 46. They're going to go drag racing down the back straightaway heading into 3.
Greg Holt got the preferred line that he wanted, which is the bottom. It looks like he gets a little bit of tightness into him, almost makes contact with the 46, stays off the door. 46 gets a great launch off the corner, clears the 3 temporarily. The 3 sticks to the bottom, right up against that yellow line there, and actually gets a really good exit. Had to slightly check up, but I think here in 3, he's going to be able to clear Josh Benoit and have sole possession in second.
Yeah, he's working it down there on the bottom, and I'm kind of paying attention to where he can't get the gas matted down the way he wanted to there on the bottom due to the 46 being right there. 46 has kind of put the 3 in a box because he's not going out wider than what he was before, as they almost made contact there. The 46 is staying a couple inches off the wall, which is very smart and kind of textbook with how they do it. Give them room in the center of the corner, but off exit, get as close to you as possible. They make contact, they're in the wall.
Huge contact. Greg Holt slams the inside of the 46, Josh Benoit. No caution is out. They both kept it straight. It looks like caution is out now due to Josh Benoit almost stopping on the front stretch, and it caused iRacing actually, it was race control that threw that yellow for Josh Benoit's truck. Josh Benoit looks like he has towed it. I don't know if he had some engine damage, because he was just kind of creeping there on the top, Terry, and then his truck just disappeared, went into the pit road, which we all know that means tow. So he could have some heavy engine damage, and that's huge points implications right now, because if he were to finish the race last, he's going to be in 14th place. And if Cody and Anthony Crownover and them can stay in the top 5, that's going to put a huge amount of pressure on Benoit to perform well at Indianapolis.
Yeah, it absolutely could. It's going to make it a very difficult situation. But the way the wreck kind of happened there, they pinched each other. He pinched him against the wall, off the exit of the corner. I had just talked about how he was giving room. And then off the exit of the corner, there was not much room to be given. And it just so happened he's in the wall.
Yeah, it was super unfortunate. We were just talking about how tough it is to keep your truck on the bottom. You said he had him in a box, and these trucks look like, minus Cody Porter, looked like everybody else was just pushing and pushing and getting tighter and tighter as the run went. And that just kind of clearly showed Greg Holt had a fast truck, and he just tried to push the limit ever so slightly, and it costed Benoit huge. Greg Holt got some right side damage. I think he'll be able to repair that under this caution and be just fine.
Yeah, that's a ton of wheel damage right there. So he just stayed into the wall, didn't want to come off of it, and that's a lot of mad respect for a lot of these drivers. Is, you know, he did not want to be the cause to potentially hurt somebody, and he just got a bunch of damage, and that's what happens. He just said, well, I would take the tow now and hope for some more yellows. So that's another big thing, is if he can get the yellow flags to fall at the right time, use the fast repair, he'll lose a lap or two, come back on the racetrack, and he'll potentially get it. But Jeremy Coors has been putting down absolute burners up there in the front, and the truck that we thought was going to be able to run him down in the 3, he's now on pit lane using, you know, a set of tires and hoping to not go a lap down as he exits pit road now.
Yeah, each driver gets 4 sets of Goodyears waiting for him in pit road at the start of the race, plus the ones on their truck, so 5 total. That rule has been in place the entire season, and no different here. Is they all, looks like everybody did use their first set 40 laps in, so 40 out of 175. If they average out that, you know, they'll be sitting just fine on 4 sets. But it looks like about a lap or so before we go back to green flag racing. Jeremy Coors looks like he remains first place, led the pack out of the pit road, and Anthony Crownover sitting in second. He's sitting real pretty right now because with the woes of Benoit, and Cody Porter now sitting in 5th. He actually gained some spots in pit road, but Anthony Crownover's in a really good spot right now to put himself in the lead for the final at Indianapolis.
And that's a great place to be in. I know most people don't want to be the leader, to have the pressure going on to them going into the final race of the season. But for Anthony, he's up 7 positions in this race, and only Connor Hazel has matched him in that you know, award for the race. But one more spot to go. There's not much more he can climb in this event. But finishing first is the only goal that they have. So right now for Anthony, you win this race, you finish P2, hope that a couple other people have some problems, and here you set. You're going to go into Indy, and now you just have to play defense the entire race. I would much rather play defense at a track like Indy than sitting there having to play offense and having to play catch-up for the entirety of the event.
Yeah, I'd rather prefer that defensive role as well, because when I get aggressive, I know my tires get cooked, and then you know, then you're just sitting duck and literally no control of your fate at that point. So you definitely want to be close to that top spot, if not be that top spot for sure, to maximize your efforts and potential. Couple drivers mid-pack right now, like we see Clayton White currently in 8th place. He is 4th in points, 16 points back. So he's on one of those books right now that with Cody Porter, to where he needs to find a little something in that setup to get himself propelled to the top 5 to give himself a good chance at Indianapolis.
Yeah, I mean, you see Clayton White back there in 8th, and you see a couple of these drivers that are around him. I've been looking at the lap times, and this is something that kind of stood out to me, is you have a distinctive 3 packs of going on. You've got Jeremy Coors in a zip code of his own, and then you've got people that can run 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s. A lot of different packs that are going to happen, but the great equalizer is restarts. Who can take advantage of the restart as the pace car takes down pit road? Yep,
Jeremy Coors is going to show them once again what's it going to take, and actually Crownover matches his energy on the restart here, side by side entering turn number 1. I think Anthony Crownover has a better position, and as I say that, he gave the spot up early. Brooks Dirting deep into the bottom there takes over 2nd place, and he is hungry for first.
Yeah, he is hungry for first, but there's a big hornet's nest right behind him. The 04 of Cody Porter. He's all over the 1 as the 22 is going to get a huge shine of the 1 to the front end of that Toyota. Had the entire Chevy almost lifted up as they come through the center of the corner. The 04 is going to get to the bottom, and he's 22. Sideways. 22's around.
22, contact to the left front of that truck there, exiting turn number 2. Soul spin there. Tim Henderson tries to avoid him and spins out himself. Caution is thrown for the 2nd time this evening on lap number 48.
that's just trying to get everything out of the truck you possibly could. And for Richard, I mean, he was up in no man's land, all the way up against the wall, and luckily when he spun, he didn't collect anybody else, nor did he get the wall as hard as I thought he was going to get it.
Yeah, that was going back and watching it. I wonder if it had. I know this track is not the fastest or anything, but you're still doing over 120 in these corners, and he was pretty close to the bumper of crown over. I don't know if having that little bit of air off his nose kind of upset the truck, because I didn't see that at all from him in the first run. And for him to maybe he went a little aggressive on the setup while he took that first caution and worked on the truck a little bit. Maybe he went a little too aggressive on the setup and it got a little too loose. But yeah, just slight contact to the left front nose. iRacing does not have tire rub, as we all know, so there's no worries of that. And he kept the nose clean just on the corner there. And it's a slower track, so aerodynamics don't play a major factor like some of these other tracks, including next week. So. He'll be fine. He just maybe woe back that setup change that he possibly have made and go back at it. He was running in top 5. He's running a pretty strong race up until then, so I'm sure he'll be back up there, no problem.
Yeah, he's got a fast machine. I mean, that's not going to be the problem. Definitely has the speed in the 22, but the thing now is there's a second set of tires that he has now used. So the tire games, he's going to have to stretch this set of tires out to hope to save a set, because if they all come down pit road, we've only had less than a lap of green flag on it, so there's no advantage for the 22 to come down and take that set, and now he's going to have to find an advantage elsewhere when it comes to strategy.
Yeah, I couldn't honestly tell. I don't think he actually took the set of tires. I went back and watched him in his pit entrance, and I don't know if iRacing doesn't show all the trucks being jacked up, but to my knowledge, the truck stayed flat on the ground, maybe just pulled out that right front fender and fueled him back up, potentially, because he might know that game of the tire strategy. We still got over, 123 laps to go in this event, with only 2 tires to spare with 100-plus laps left. Like, if your name's not Benoit, that's an issue.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue back here for a good bit of these drivers. The 46, I mean, he's all tore up, just sitting on pit road, and it is a beautiful truck, though. I very much enjoy the 46 paint scheme with the green on it. So it reminds me of an old Harry Gant scheme, but for a lot of these drivers, they're playing catch up with Jeremy Coors. Can we get to the back bumper of him? And we saw Anthony be able to match him on the restart. Well, can the other drivers do that? Now, can Brooks do it? Now he's going to be starting to the outside, which we didn't see a very good restart going into one for Anthony on the last one. Can the 99 make it happen there and make it stick to the quarter panel of the 97?
Gotta let you guys know there's another huge point implications. Your points leader, Cody Porter, backed out of the event. He was on track doing, he was running pace speed, but then his truck disappeared and he's disconnected. That is your points leader. And Josh Benoit being in the pit road still after that first caution, being multiple laps down at this point. Crownover is going to take your lead virtue of just those two alone. So top 2 definitely not in a position that they wanted to be in going into the second to final race of the season. So huge points implications. That's going to move Crownover to first, Clayton White second, Richard Malagani third, just by prior of the race tonight. So everything's just mixed up now. So there's a whole new strategy.
That is huge. In the virtue of the points is now with Cody Porter out, it's anybody's ball game. Anybody who's within striking distance now has to come out here and go, well, guess what? Now I've got to drive just a little bit harder. So I would expect to see a couple more yellow flags come out, because people now know, well, I got to take this lead, or I need to finish second or third to really make a difference in the points. Because if they finish 11th or if they finish 10th, well, they've only gained 3 points on Cody. So now it's go time for these drivers, because they have to be able to sustain their speed for the entirety of the race. Yeah,
Malagani, who's, of course, got the end of longest line penalty for bringing out the second caution this evening. He was, it looks like 11 points behind your now new points leader at the end of this event, Crownover. he's got to make those points up now because he's got a lot of work to do to get up there. But with over 100 laps, that's no problem. But pace truck is down nonetheless. Green flag is out. Jeremy Kors actually a pretty decent start this time. Over Brooks Darting, gets single file even before they get to turn 1. Crown over, dipping down low, looking for position as Connor Hazel, as you mentioned earlier too, putting on some strong efforts there and has finally cracked the top 3.
Yeah, now he's up 11 spots here in that 2 truck, and he's going to get a challenge down there from Anthony on the bottom. But I think the way that the 2's been racing this is it took a while for his truck to come in, but now he's really starting to come into his own. His lap times are phenomenal. I mean, he's not the fastest on the short run, but once he starts to get it, 24 9s, 24 7s. I mean, he's just consistent with what he does, and he's not changing his lineup a ton. He'll go and run the bottom. As there, he swung just a little bit too wide, almost caught the wall, and now as they go into 1, he has Brooks right in front of him. Can he make that move and go up 12 positions?
Yeah, Connor's been running a little bit mid to high line, at least to my knowledge, what I've seen so far. And Brooks Darting just running a little bit lower as he goes to the bottom of the track this time. And Connor Hazel actually dropped back there. Anthony Crownover wanted to get back up there. He's back into 3rd place, your current points leader at the time being. But Jeremy Kors right now, I was thinking he would probably have some competition there with Connor Hazel, but Connor, I think, actually uses stuff up really quick as Greg Holt on the top side of the track this time goes around him and takes 4th.
Yeah, the 3 made a great move to the outside, took it in the 2's around. 2's saved it. Saved it in the grass, and he just mowed the whole thing.
Excellent save there. Thankfully, there's no grass that gets trapped in these front grills, or else he'd be in some big danger. But excellent save. Kept everything off the wall. Everything clean. No damage. He's good to go. Just got to scrub that dirt off the tires for the next lap, and he'll be just fine. But, man, that was such a huge and awesome performance he was putting on up until that point. Now he has to just kind of regroup and get things back going, and he'll be back up there.
Yeah, he's going to have to regroup and do a lot of thinking because now he's only at +4. That was a big change from where he was at +11, and he was going for +12. And he goes for that spin, and like you said, he kind of saved himself just a little bit because he didn't do a whole lot of skidding when it came to being on the actual surface. He spun it, tried to save it, and just quickly dipped it to the grass. That's going to keep the tires just a little bit cooler and not hurt it. But luckily, this wasn't like one of the normal racetracks that we're at where that would have been pit road. So he didn't get a pit road speeding penalty because there was a wall in between him and the pit lane, and he didn't hit the wall either. So no harm, no foul for the 2. He lost some spots, pray for a yellow, and maybe come back into this race and drive it up there like he stole it.
He's going to have to at this point. He has very little chance unless there's a caution that comes out kind of early to where he can just regroup and, keep on that same pace. But we're kind of seeing a little bit of change up compared to what we usually see as far as the trucks being stable. What I mean is a lot of these trucks are pretty clean. They weren't loose. Maybe 1 truck or 2 trucks showed a little bit of looseness, but they're kind of tight for the most part. And the track usually gains grip the later into the night you go. It's almost midnight into the server, so the track's already pretty cool, but these trucks are getting a lot looser as the rubber gets laid down, so it's a little bit of a difference than we're used to seeing. Looking at Greg Holt right now, huge battle here for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Greg Holt putting some excellent pressure on these 2, Brooks Darting and Anthony Crownover, as they are side by side. It's not helping Greg move forward, but it's definitely helping the fact that they're using their tires and he's not. So long run, this is actually working out in his favor.
Big shout out to the wife. She said, "I'm going to come wake you up." Stopped by the store and bought her boo some ice cream bars. And my mouth is going to be colder than the racetrack, which is 76 degrees currently. It is 74 degrees in sim time, and like you said, it's coming very close. It's almost 11 p.m. on sim here this afternoon, and for the one almost caught the 99, and that almost became a 3-car or 3-truck wreck.
Yeah, that would have been nothing but awesome for Coors, but thankfully nothing was made out of it. Everything stayed clean. Crownover takes sole possession of 2nd place. We see Brooks Darting kind of dropping back. But then Greg Holt now, since he knows that they are single file at this point, now it's his time to attack and get up there and try to contend.
Well, we saw Anthony start to have some speed towards the latter part of that first run that we had, and now he's working his way back up there. But for Brooks, settle in, have a rhythm. Anthony's the points leader. He has a ton to lose. So you can race him a little bit harder, and I can almost guarantee you that Anthony at some point in time would just have to go, hey, I don't want to be a part of this. Like, I don't want to lose the points lead. I gained it due to a misfortune for Cody. Let me keep it. But he's pulling away from them now. As you see the 3-car of Greg, he's going to get around Brooks here. It's interesting to see the ebbs and flows of this race so far, and man, we're almost to 70 laps down into this event. I really do feel like I just blinked, and here we are at 70.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I want to go back to Richard Malagani, who's passed 4 to 5 trucks. At this point in time, he dips down low to Andy Berganti here, trying to take over 7th place. He drove a little bit too deep there on the 13, that did. So Anthony looks like he's going to fall to the wayside of Richard Malagani here in turn number 3. He's going to put a good effort there on the top. Just does not have the grip on exit. Richard Malagani up to 7th place. And he's got Clayton White currently sitting, I think, 2nd or 3rd in the points right now. As he gets a little wobble there during turn 1. His truck is a little upset, not running where he wants it exactly. But Richard's going to take him up for that. And 6th place, there he goes. He's a strong mover now. Already moving up 5 or 6 spots since that last caution.
Well, the last caution was him. So for him to rebound the way that he has been phenomenal. I mean, he has drove all the way back up to the 6th place position after starting in 10th there. And he actually, I believe he started tail into the longest line. So every truck that was on the field, he started behind them. So he didn't get the greatest of restarts. He wasn't able to necessarily have the luxury of starting right behind his nearest competitor. He's actually had to work it up there. And unlike his home in Las Vegas, Nevada, he's not going to have to gamble a ton tonight. He's just going to have to pray to land on the beautiful 11 and hope he doesn't hit any unlucky numbers.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got a lot of space before his next competitor, which if he does get to him, will crack the top 5, that being Jeff Converse. We haven't talked about him much, if at all, minus the grid there. He's just been quietly sitting in the top 5, just doing his own thing. Not a scratch on that truck, at least that I can see. His truck looks pretty good. It's not like the super fast truck, but he's definitely in a position to make a strong finish for sure. Brooks dirting on the back bumper here of Greg Holt, as Greg has resumed to 3rd place. So that allowed Anthony Crownover to actually pull a huge gap between him and Holt, as Holt and Erding were, hashing out for position. But nonetheless, that goes back to your race leader, which he has a 3-second leader, that being Jeremy Coors over Anthony Crownover. Just stellar performance by Coors. He's been the class of the field. He's been shown up one time on the restart by Crownover, and that's it. There's been no other competition, which I thought Connor Hazel was going to do something until he spun out there on the front stretch early on. But right now, Coors is just setting sail right now.
Yeah, and with the 100 laps to go here at Iowa, in the no-slip max grip sock 175, and I guarantee you I could not say that 100 times without saying a bunch of other words that could not be said on the broadcast. But Jeremy Coors just putting an ass whooping on him. I mean, 3-second lead in the next competition, but after the 3 seconds is a 5-second gap. I mean, he's absolutely putting it on him. Let's take actually a ride here with him. You just see a very little steering input that he's having to put in here, and he barely just works the wheel through one. Gets it as straight as possible before you see him get back on the gas hard, and then he just lets off very gently, gets down, paints that yellow line, and then he's going to straighten it up here and just get a very good runoff exit, and you don't see that truck move anywhere but where he wants it to go.
Yeah, he's definitely looking really strong right now, and when you have control of the truck in the middle of the race like this, that's, you're putting yourself in a great chance to do some great things, like get that win or close to it, and trying to secure the championship race to be more so in your favor. But I think right now, Mr. Terry, that with everybody kind of spaced out doing their thing, I think it's a great time to kick it over and show some love to our sponsors with a quick commercial break. So stay tuned. We'll be with you guys back shortly. And welcome back, race fans. Right during that commercial break, I wanted to point out that Connor Hazel, once again, if we're going to ride along the cockpit here of Scott Martin, Connor Hazel got loose on the exit of turn number 4 and heavily hit the right front of his truck on that wall. Scott made an awesome move to avoid him altogether. So that's the second time Connor's got loose. This time he paid a little bit more of a price and got some heavy damage out of it. He's currently in pit road getting that thing repaired.
Yeah, we saw him go sideways about 15, 16 laps ago when the tires had finally given up. He came off the exit of the corner, and right when he went back to get back on the loud pedal, he just fishtailed, and he did an incredible job of just taking himself out on that moment. I'm very surprised with the respect and the courteousness that they're showing out here, but look at old Scotty Poo up there in ninth. He's only 2 spots from where he started there in 7th place, but I'm not going to say one of the lowest licenses here in this race, but one of the lowest licenses, Scott. He's doing a pretty good job out here.
That was a nice little nudge there to Scott himself. I'm sure he'll catch you after the race.
He's more impressive than mine. I have a D license, but I have an excuse.
That's fair enough. Okay, so you got the under guy, poking the guy above him. That's cool.
That's right. Try to fire him up to come race me some.
Yeah, there you go. Set that competition. But yeah, it's a nice little gaggle of trucks here. About 5 right now. Mixed in with a couple of lap down trucks. You see, Josh Benoit surprisingly only came out of the pits only 2 laps down. Really impressed me there. I thought he was going to be down more, but so he still kind of got a chance if some people rack out. Who knows? Then you have Tim Henderson, who's also lapped down, fighting right there in front of Clayton White, currently running in your 7th place. Clayton White's actually found the top of the track to be something of his favor. So, as you see, the 13, Andy Briganti trying to make something happen there to take over 7th place, as I was just talking about that. And here's old Scotty Poo, as you mentioned. He's kind of creeping in there on Andy as well.
He's lurking there like the dude from Scream. Just sitting back there minding his own business at ninth, watching other people move around the racetrack. And you talked about Clayton White making the outside of his home. I just looked over at the time and the scoring, and his lap times are actually mirroring what we thought, and they just reversed. Andy and Clayton just ran each other's lap time, but on separate laps. A 25.05 to a 25.1 is what they had going on there. And then you have Scott back there with a 25.2. So differing lines, and the 13's picked up on what the 06 is doing. He's going to move to the outside. They kind of teach people throughout the race what to do, and you watch a driver do it, and you go, that was a pretty smart idea. Look at the run he got down this straightaway. Let me see if I can do it. And then you're just going to continue to push yourself higher above the track as the 67 is going to get to the inside of the 13 there and try to have a challenge for position for 8.
Yeah, with about 81 laps left in this event, there's still time to learn. You're probably going to see another caution before this thing's all said and done, right? So if you can learn off the competitive, it's just a little bit faster than you. We see Briganti there just kind of wobble up a little bit there, still behind Clayton White. And Scott Martin actually looking to the bottom here, trying to take over that 8th place from Briganti. Gets a nice solid run there on the bottom, as you like to describe it. He's painting that yellow line, gets a little too close to it, actually. A little bit of wobble on exit. And Briganti's actually going to take that advantage and dip really low there on the 06 like Clayton White. Clayton White, with that strong outside run there that Andy has not found, chokes up, has to lift, and now Scott once again on the bottom trying to take that spot. He moves up a little bit higher, hits that second transition to get that truck to rotate a little more. Look like it's going to work, and he almost clears Andy exiting for it.
I actually want to pay attention to the speed difference of what you got going on here. When Scott and Andy went down into the corner and was riding the bottom the previous couple laps, they would go down to about 108, and you'd have 111 miles per hour on the high side. So what Clayton's been able to do is he's just carrying the momentum, and he's rolling off the gas, barely touching the brake. I didn't see a very big decrease in speed from about 162, 163 as Greg Holt just came down pit lane right there. It's not a whole lot of transition, and Scott's going to try to get the 2-for-1 special at Cracker Barrel and go around both trucks, and he's going to get past and clear of the 06, and No, that was not a shot at his age. He eats dinner at 4 o'clock at the early bird special at the Country Kitchen Buffet.
Yeah, that's a strong competition between him and Cracker Barrel, but I think it was a crack. I really feel like it was one, but yeah, you mentioned Greg Holt. He did come down pit road. That was your 4th place truck at the time, so potentially we're going to start seeing that green flag cycle come through. I haven't seen anybody else dip, so that just means Greg Holt's going to have a lot fresher tires than everybody else out here. And he's going to make up some serious ground. I don't know if that means there's one stop left or if maybe he pitted at the very end of that huge pit window to where he can maybe go the rest of the way.
I mean, being the first car to come down pit lane in any racetrack, especially a place like Iowa, you see how quickly he caught up to these drivers. And they were a little bit off the pace compared to what the top 3 drivers was doing to begin with, or top 4, as the 3 was a part of that. But he's going to make a little bit more track position up. He's going to be able to start clearing as he's driven away by almost a full second away from Scott in the 67. But it's going to be a little bit of a flow. But we're going to have to see on the roll when we roll the reverses a little bit. The 3 coming down early, when Jeremy Coors and Anthony and Brooks come down pit road, how much time are they going to gain on him? Is it going to be a net gain, or is it going to break even? Or is the 3 going to have a net loss because he does have a little bit of damage to the right side of that truck?
Yeah, so how the strategy's playing right now is if you're going to extend your run compared to somebody else who short pits, you have to extend that window by a lot. I feel like if you pit like 3 laps later after someone short pits, then you're messing your own race up because you're not getting much return out of that huge time difference that he has on you for those 3 laps or so with the much fresher tires. So at this point, I would expect Coors and everybody else to kind of just extend this run as long as possible so Holt doesn't have that huge advantage like he would if they were to come down now. Coors still setting sail right now, guys, at a 4-second lead. And then about a second behind him is Brooks Dirting for 3rd, and then Converse currently sitting in 4th, and Richard Malagani has worked himself back up to 5th.
And the battle going on right here between Clayton and Andy. What a lot of people aren't realizing at this moment is Greg Holt sitting 1 lap down. He is the first car 1 lap down on this racetrack. So, for the rest of the field, they're kind of praying for a caution, because if it does continue through green flag pit stops, obviously you're going to see a guy like Holt. He's going to make a ton of track position up on you, and he's going to kind of close in to the lead just a little bit more. And if the rest of the field gets the caution they're looking for, well, he's trapped a lap down. He gets the free pass, and he has to start tailing the longest line. So it would throw all strategy out the window, and it would say, okay, you got 1 stop as the 06 there just tagged the wall.
Trying to push everything out of that 06 and just got a little too much and just scraped the paint off the side. No real damage there, no problem. But that truck has really tightened up being on the top side and still pushing like that. Shows that truck is, those tires are gone essentially. So he checks up huge there on the top side, center of 3 and 4. He's going to need to come down soon and get some 4 fresh Goodyears on that thing, which I do believe will use up his 3rd set of tires out of the 4 total that they get. So he's just, Brooks Dirting here. He's going to come to the inside. He's going to just cleanly lap him as well. And yeah, as you were talking about with the trucks being a lap down, that puts Andy Briganti currently your highest placed 1 lap down truck. So if there were a caution right now, Briganti's sitting pretty.
Wow, I didn't see that they lapped old Andy right there. But what a pace that Jeremy Coors has laid down here. He's now 4.3 seconds ahead of the field, and he's about to go around Scott Martin to put the 6th place driver 1 lap down. And I mean, he's just blistering this field at an unprecedented rate. So a lot of these drivers are going to have to hope that something happens, whether he speeds on pit road or he spins the tires on a restart or something. It's going to have to be something that's going to be talked about later on, as we only got now 65 laps remaining.
Laps are kind of winding down, and I do believe we're down to your last green flag stops when you do see the rest of the field come down. And you know what, Terry, I think Jeremy Coors actually heard your opening race comments about wrecking on the starts, and he just wanted to kind of completely 180 your comment and show you what he's worth. And he's almost at a 4.5 second lead over Crownover. who right now is currently sitting as your points leader, that matter. So put on a strong performance. So he's not really in the running for the. I mean, if he finishes the way he's doing right now, he might be in a decent spot. But I don't know how the points, because it's only a 1 point per position difference. Coors was sitting 23 back tonight, starting, so he might put himself in a decent chance. It's going to be, one of those scenarios where he's going to have to hope for some troubles from the guys in front of him in the points to kind of give him that chance. But all he can do right now is doing what he's doing now and just dominating the event.
You dominate the race, and everything else just really falls into its own. Anthony's going to come down pit road here, the Hampton, Virginia native, looking good for a 33-year-old down there in the old great lover state of Virginia. But you talked about Jeremy Coors not really in the running of the championship, but you don't have to be in the running to go out here and have a great showing of what he's been doing. I mean, right now he's literally sitting at a 6-second advantage over the next highest car, which is Brooks in the 99, and he didn't have anything else to do because third place is only a measly 11 seconds behind him. So show up and show out, and who knows, maybe I'll throw the challenge at him one day that you give me the same setup you're running, and I'll come out here and see if I can match you lap times.
There you go. As we got more trucks actually in pit road. We see Crownover exit the pit road. He's back on track with 4 set of good years, and Andy Berganti currently coming down, as well as Brooks Dirting, who was running in second. He's going to hit the pit box 3, 2, 1. Stops the truck nice and clean on his pit stall. We see Jeremy Coors, your race leader, coming down this time by as well. He is lurking. Hopefully he hits a nice clean stop as well to kind of match that. But I want to talk about, too, the mental side of things, because he has such a huge lead. And when he gets back out there, as long as he has a clean stop here, it's one of those mental games, really. You're doing so well and you're so far ahead and you have no pressure. If you don't have the mental, stamina to kind of just run solo laps for over and over and over, sometimes it gets a little boring, so to speak, because there's no pressure, right? So you're just kind of like on a Sunday cruise with that kind of setup behind you. Like you have no issue with it doing so. So sometimes, like for me, it gets a little boring and you have to kind of make sure to hit your marks. So you don't want to scrub your tires. You don't want to accidentally slip up and hit the wall, that kind of thing. So he might have to do a little bit of that to kind of keep himself there in contention.
Well, we talked about what could have been. Right now, look at the 3. He is the race leader. He took the race lead, and now he only has a 4-second lead on Jeremy Coors. But that's gonna dwindle very fast. And don't know how many laps we could see the 3 hold this lead, but this is a good learning curve for him. And you talked about Jeremy Coors having the lead and being on a Sunday cruise. He doesn't make a lot of changes to his truck here. If he's coming down pit road, he's like, oh, the truck's perfect. I don't have nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to make a change. But the people who are second, third, and fourth are like, well, I could be a tick tighter in the center, or I could have a little bit more drive off, and they're going to make the change to fix that. So we'll see who made the right adjustments as the strategy's paying off for Greg Holt. He holds the race lead, and now Jeremy Coors finds himself where he hasn't found himself all night, running P2 and chasing down the leader.
He won't be there for long. That last lap, he gained 6/10 of a second over Greg Holt. So he is going up there real quick. See Holt just kind of get around Richard Malagani there, lapping your 7th place truck this evening. Greg kind of run that low to middle line. Coors right up against that yellow line there as he ticks off a whole second after that. So that truck, it will be there real soon. And he's currently got a second or so lead over Anthony Crownover. So Crownover actually made some pretty darn good time during his pit stop.
Well, and insert the Jaws music. It's down to 1.2 seconds. And the differing in strategy, Holt pitted on lap 97 compared to 115 for Coors. And Coors was the second to last driver to come down pit lane here this afternoon. So he waited and pushed it until the very end to think, okay, maybe I don't have to make another pit stop, as we're going to come down here. My math is correct. It's about 50 to go. So for Coors, he's about to take this race lead, and he's going to do it like Colt standing still as he comes down the back straightaway, and he's going to take it right into the corner, and there will be no fight put up by the 3 as the corner speed is not there for that 3 machine. The difference there was a measly 4 miles per hour between Coors and Holt of the drive-in time.
Yeah, no fight at all. Coors just secures first place with ease. We see Crownover trying to make a push there. He's kind of fallen a 10th or 2 back since I last talked about him and Coors' difference there on the track. And Coors just looks like he's a little bit tighter there in the center off compared to, or Anthony's more tighter than Coors right now in the center off. So that truck's just struggling just a little bit, but if you can kind of maintain those tires and not scrub off too much speed, it might be a different story later on this run.
Well, then you talk about pit time. The last pit time there for Coors was 14.62, and Holt had the same time. And for some, Anthony had a little bit slower pit stop. He was 4/10 slower with a 15.0. So, and he still was able to gain a little bit of time. I'm not sure if he drove the truck just a little bit harder, but the gap has stretched just a little bit. About 2 laps ago, it was 1.2 seconds. Now make it 1.8 seconds. It's going to separate Coors and Crownover here. But now that the new points leader is free and clear, and he can just go out there and run his own, knowing that, well, I have to protect my points lead. I don't want to jeopardize myself and what I can do at Indianapolis next week. He's just going to have to be clean and green. Sit on the bottom, roll around, you just do what you got to do, and if you finish second, hey, it's an honest day's work. And you got some luck on your side too, so take it and run with it. Like the good song, "Go on, take your money and run." That's what he's going to have to do here. He's going to have to finish out strong here, head to Indianapolis, and just be happy that he's in the position to win a championship.
Yeah, if Anthony can secure the top 3 right now, as it stands, he's got himself in a really, really good chance. He was third entering in. He does resume the points lead as long as he can stay on track and complete all the laps tonight. Clayton White, who's 4th in points, which is right behind Crownover going in. He was 5 points behind, but Clayton White right now is 7 positions behind Crownover. So that'll put him, Anthony just basically has to finish the race on the lead lap next week, and it might be all said and done there. So, he's doing an excellent job trying to secure that, given the circumstance tonight with your early wreck with Benoit, and then the later thing with Cody Porter is Cody actually just connected back to the server. Currently 75 laps down. It's not going to be any threat whatsoever, but that kind of scenario where he's just gifted the lead and, doing an awesome job gaining spots over his competitors behind him, just sets himself up for a really good chance next week.
It does set himself up for a very good challenge going into next week. And for a ton of these drivers, they know with next week being the final race that they got of their season, it's going to shape up, especially at one of the crown jewels of NASCAR at Indianapolis, and the trucks are phenomenal to race around that surface. I challenge anybody who's watching or will watch this that if you get a time during the week to go out there and take these trucks with a couple buddies out there, the draft down the straightaways is just massive. I mean, I've raced there twice, and I've never ever had more fun. I mean, I think it's more fun to put these trucks out there than it is to put the Indy cars. You can beat bang, and you can have a lot of fun doing it. You can actually shove them into the corner, take the air off the spoiler, and you could potentially have a giant pileup going into one.
Yeah, I feel like the trucks are definitely one of those cars that are underrated on the iRacing service, just because they're not the top class car, right? You got the Cup cars, you got your Formula One, the big dogs out there that everybody knows. But these trucks are a blast to drive at some of these tracks, and like you're saying, Indianapolis, it is definitely a lot of fun. Do go out there and do that. I'll back Terry up on that 110%. So, kind of watching Greg Holt though at the moment. His pit strategy has expelled entirely as he's dropped back to 4th place behind Brooks Sturding. So he's kind of sitting in that same position where he entered the pits originally, but with a lot slower truck. So this strategy is actually not working toward his favor. He probably maybe wanted an extra caution or so, but now he's just along for the ride, and see if we can just kind of limp this thing home.
Yeah, he's going to have to going to have to limp his way around. And I'm still surprised with Cody Porter. The fact that he is out of the race 31 laps down on this field, and he came into this race with a points lead and was able to sustain it the entire time, and he comes here to Iowa and he's going to lose a ton of points. I mean, he had a little bit of a points lead coming in here, and maybe I think it was 3 points was what put them together, but now it's evaporated. He's going to walk out of here, potentially negative 10 to what Anthony's going to have going into Indy, and hope for a bigger field to show up, that maybe that way he can have some type of buffer that if something happens to Anthony, he has a chance to win it. But it's been a dominating performance so far for Jeremy Coors. Disappointment for Cody Porter, and for a lot of these drivers here, you don't have very many still on the lead lap. But that just shows the testament of, hey, maybe we should go knock on Jeremy Coors' door to see what maybe he ran here or what he's going to run at Indianapolis, because that's the guy I'm going to want to follow.
Yeah, he's definitely put in the time and the work, and it's definitely reflecting tonight. We talked about Cody Porter. He's actually right on the bumper of Jeremy Coors. He did re-enter the track, being 76 laps down. Literally nothing to gain here. He's probably doing it just for the sponsor's sake, which you can't blame him there. The sponsors pay him to be on the track, and here he is showing them off. So, it's a clean truck. It's a fast truck, and he's kind of put himself in the picture with Coors, so getting a little bit of extra TV time. It's exactly what they're trying to get out of that camp right now. It's the only thing you can do. But, yeah, he's definitely out of the picture. The points, I mean, yeah, he might have a small chance. I don't know. We'll see how the points break down when this race is over with. But I know his championship chances they're all but gone. I would say there's a small 5 to 10% chance that he might be able to do something next week.
I'm not very good at math, but those don't sound like very good odds to me. But I know who has very good odds of winning this race right here, and that's Jeremy Coors. I mean, I said it from the start that, he does enjoy to wreck on restarts. But for the rest of the field, I mean, you got people behind him. The 04's right there on his back bumper, and you see the 06 starting to get loose off the exit of the corner there. The tires are really starting to wear down once again. I mean, we're 30 laps onto this run here, and this is when you start to see a lot of give going in these tires. And with 30 to go, start to see some pit stops with about 20 to go. I'm curious to see, because Greg Holtz fell all the way back to 4th, and he's, at this moment, 4 seconds off the lead. Can he regain what he did earlier and flip the strategy and potentially come out and pit first and hope that it takes more than the 4 laps that it took Coors to catch him, and maybe hold him up a little bit to potentially get this race win too?
Yeah, I was kind of going back and look at the lap time, or the one last time he pitted. Coors pitted on lap 116, I do believe it was. So that's about a 70 lap difference between the lap 40 pit stop and then that one. So if math serves me correctly, he can go the rest of the way with how he's sitting. Greg Holt probably has to do one more stop because he did pit way earlier than everybody else. So I don't know if he's going to hit that threshold to make it or not. It looks about a 70 lap run on this tank of gas anyway. So I do believe he should be able to stay out and just finish this race off as it currently runs, unless of course there's a caution. Then you absolutely want those set of tires that are waiting for you, which most of these drivers have about 1 to 2 left. I would imagine most of them have 1 at this point. I don't have the exact count for you guys out there. But, yeah, Coors is putting on a hell of a show right now. He's creeping up on Maligani, which is your 6th place truck, the last truck on the lead lap. In about a couple more laps, Coors will then devour him and just leave him in the top 5 to be on the race lead.
Yeah, and for Coors just putting people a lap down, I mean, he has to go. I mean, people are probably like, oh, why is he lapping everybody, or what's he doing? Well, if he sits there and he stays behind them, then obviously he's going to get passed and he's going to get caught. But, for the race that he's put on here, almost to a 5-second lead, and his lap times have just been head and shoulders above the rest. I mean, the next closest driver to him to hit the mark was a 23.4. It was about 0.6. There's a car on the wall there. I believe that's Scott right there. on a piece of the wall too. A lot of these drivers are starting to get on the ragged edge, and well, it's go time from here. You said the leaders could potentially make it the rest of the way. Greg Holt's not going to be able to do it. My math is not that good, but he pitted on lap 97, so that's not going to give him the opportunity to come out here, and he pitted about 10 laps before the rest of the field, so put him a couple laps short, and maybe he's just on cruise control hoping that he can, or praying for that yellow flag.
Absolutely, and Malagani also was another truck who did scrape the wall there, this time off of exit turn number 4, right in front of your race leader, Jeremy Coors. We see Tim Henderson putting some pressure on the 97 as he just lets him by because there's no real reason to race him at all. Henderson has a little bit later of a pit stop, a little bit of fresher tires, even though he is currently sitting 3 laps down, which will now be 2 laps down next time by. We're on lap currently 149, coming up to lap 150 out of 175. So 26 laps have to go in this event. So Henderson, huge loose, big loose, but is able to save it. That's something that Coors really doesn't want to see, because you got this huge lead and then you're going to have a lap truck scare your wits right there with that huge wobble. So, maybe this race isn't going to be as easy as what I was thinking.
Well, I mean, I'm sure his eyes lit up like a kid looking at a Christmas tree, but he just almost watched his entire body of work flash before his eyes as they come across the line there. Now it is 25 laps to go, and the Martin Sports no-slip Max Griff Sim Socks could definitely have helped Tim Henderson right there as he went slipping and sliding. And I tell you, I got these awesome gloves that have the same material that are going to be on the Sim Sock here in my glove, and it really does. It sticks to the floor. And when I originally saw these gloves, the first thing that came to my mind was, like, you remember those hospital socks that they give you that's got the netting at the bottom?
Yeah.
Those are so good. Those are so good. I kind of wish that I could just, go to a hospital and get like 15 pairs of those. I would never wear another pair of socks again.
Well, you don't have to if Mr. Scott Martin's going to be making them for you there. And so you have to hit him up. And plus, they'll come probably in better colors and designs than what the hospital can ever provide, because they're not there for style, unlike Scott. But
that is true. Hey, Scott, if you're watching this later on and you come to exactly 23 laps to go, my favorite color is purple. So if you could shoot me some purple colored socks, I promise you I will wear them on every stream, and I will shout them out in prayers. And I can't wait for the release of the Mystic Mountain Blueberry color.
If you can promote socks during a broadcast successfully, I want to take a page out of your book for sure. Just kick your feet up and have them. Just have them hanging all behind you. But I'm going to kick it back over to the race action just for a little bit here. We got 20 laps to go at this point. Crown over currently still sitting in second. He's dropped back to 5 seconds. You see him pass Clayton White right now. Is currently 2 laps down, sitting in 8th place at the moment. Everyone's just really spaced out there, Terry. They're just kind of doing their thing, and everyone's set on cruise control. So, Coors is in the best spot you could possibly ask for, and Crown over, going into the final race, he's going to be setting real nice.
Yeah, for Crown over going into the next race here, it's really just going to be survive. Like, you're going to go into that race on defense, and you know that the only thing you have to do at that moment is just finish. You don't have to be spectacular. You don't have to go put on a dominating performance. You don't even have to win. If my math is correct with what he'll walk out of here with, he's only going to have to walk out with maybe a 9th to 10th place finish. Even if Cody Porter wins the race, he's still going to win the championship. But I know he's going to want to go out there and put on a show to say, I won the last race of the season and I won the championship as a winner. But you don't have to be overly aggressive to do it. You just have to go out and make it work. So he's in a great position, and that's all that really matters. Is with 18 laps to go coming to 17, he's going to finish this race if barring any crazy circumstance is happening, he's going to walk away with a second, and then he's going to walk away with a points lead, and he can hold his head held high that nobody can really touch him unless he has a very disastrous race next week.
Yeah, which I'm sure that's not what is in his cards. And, typically when you're given food, you don't have to pay for it and you're just given free food, it usually tastes better because it's free. That's kind of like the joke, right? But Crownover kind of just gifted the top spot there with the top two prior to tonight's race, just, falling out of the race basically, and just kind of gifted. So I don't know if it's going to be more of like a bittersweet thing for him, as he's going to clearly at this point be in that top spot for that championship for the Sticker Cabana Truck Series, or we'll definitely, if race finishes out in this order, we'll definitely ask him that. But kind of a little odd predicament because he didn't expect to be in this role, and now he's got a really good shot at it. So kick it over to Jeremy Kors here. We got 15 laps to go. Of course, the star of the field tonight. We keep mentioning him. He's a sponsor of Martin Sports. He's got a set of gloves. He races with them. He swears by them that they make him faster. And, with each winner in the playoffs, he gets an extra set of gloves too. So maybe he might take that purple color up, take that idea off you, and maybe have some decor. You get a blue glove for one race or a purple for the next. He's going to have that opportunity as long as he can finish strong here.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of action happening around the track because Cody Porter just connected again. So potential, saving mode if he can get around Josh Benoit there and pick up one extra position. And that's a good attitude to have for him. Don't quit attitude. Being back on the racetrack is always a good thing to have. And he's out here running these laps. He's continuously doing it. Must have had some type of server issue. He had some good speed. I mean, he's running very competitive laps. So I would have expected, and I'm very upset that we didn't get to see what he had in that 04 machine. Because, he is putting down competitive laps. He put down a competitive lap compared to what Kors did. He actually had the fifth fastest lap time of this event. So it would have been an interesting battle between him and Anthony on who could have held what, because Cody was only 9 1,000ths off of or 100ths off of the race speed that Anthony had put down. Man, what could have been for Cody Porter here tonight, and it's good that he stuck it out, and 31 laps down on the field, he's still out here being competitive.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like an ISP issue that kicked him out of the race, I'm sure he'll be on the phone with customer service tonight for sure, because that potentially has costed him that championship spot there in the Sticker Cabana Truck Series. But laps are winding down. We're about 10 laps to go at this point. People they're still pretty spaced out overall. There's no real battle on the track. They're all evenly taking up, part of the racing surface. We see Connor Hazel having a little bit of issue. Heavy check up there, exiting turn number 2. Allows Porter to go by no problem. Tim Henderson right behind him. They're just kind of doing their thing. Kors right now is behind Scott Martin, who's about to go 2 laps down here shortly. He is currently sitting in 7th place, it looks like. So actually got about 8 laps to go at this point right now. So it's all but over right now, Terry.
Yeah, turn out the lights. The party's over, and I don't really feel like the party ever got to begin. We took the green flag and Kors set sail. He was, like Columbus looking for the new world. He just drove on out and did what he had to do, and he'll take this lap down, put to 7 to go. The rest of the field's just kind of been in no man's land because you can make the adjustments to your car, but do everything but throw the kitchen sink at it. And I would almost bet you that when we talk to Anthony Crownover at the end of this event, being 6 seconds off of where he was at, and he's running lap times that is absolutely on top of what Jeremy Kors is doing right now, but it's a little too late. The short run speed was not there for him tonight. The long run speed is what he needed. 6 to go here, and with barring any unseeable events, this race just turned into the Jeremy Kors show.
Really has been the Jeremy Kors show. It just -1 restart. Everybody else and everything else around him has just been not there on his own zip code, as you said early on. And that truck too, lap per lap, has looked the most consistent. I don't think I've seen a single wobble out of that truck. I haven't seen him got close to the wall. It's just a very stout. He's on rails essentially. Like there's nothing that's really affecting that truck in a negative form right now. And he just run that middle to lower line, which is kind of unique with this track because you have the progressive banking between each groove here and a little bit flatter on the bottom. And so if you're feeling a little tight, you just kind of move up to that little seam there to kind of transition your truck to a different pitch. It gets the truck to rotate a little bit better. So you see a lot of drivers kind of do that. Richard Malagani, actually right behind him, exiting turn 2, got in the wall a little bit as well. Just want to make a side note of that. He's currently sitting in 6th place. He'll be 2nd or 3rd in the points when this thing's all said and done. So he has a decent chance as well. And it's unfortunate for Richard. I thought he's going to have a much better finish than this. Almost gets into the wall, getting on turn 2, just struggling heavy. But this past 4 or 5 weeks, he's been doing pretty damn awesome, I would say. And I guess Iowa is just one of those tracks that wasn't in his favor. But from what I heard in the camp, I think he really enjoys Indianapolis and will try to fight for all he has in that Martin Sports number 22.
Yeah, and it didn't start off too hot for him. I mean, yeah, he started P4, got a good qualifying start, but, it really hasn't played dividends for him. We're coming to take the white flag here, and we haven't saw what we thought we were going to see with the potential yellow flag. And for the 22, it was a bad night, but all eyes has been on the 97. He's put on a Kurt Busch-esque performance here this afternoon.
Yep, he's got a half a track left to do so. Scott Martin in front of him is going to be no problem. Jeremy Coors around 3 and 4 for the last time, and leading almost every lap in this event. Jeremy Coors is going to win the Martin Sports No Slip Max Grip SimSops 175. That 2nd place here, Anthony Crownover crossing the line here. Brooks Durding right behind him in 3rd. Jeff Converse 4th place, and the round out 5th will be Greg Holt. The top 5 all on the race lead lap. Everybody else behind them 1 lap or more down. You got Scott Martin sitting there in 7th. Clayton White 8th. Andy Berganti 9th. Tim Henderson rounds out the top 10. And then everybody else had the wrecks or the internet issues or whatnot. So Coors successfully, claims the victory, claims the gloves after that huge dominant performance this evening.
Yeah, and he's going to burn it down, and the fireworks going on in the background. It always amazes me to see the attention to detail that iRacing puts in to each racetrack, where they perfectly put the fireworks and just everything that comes into the pageantry of what iRacing's been able to do. But tonight, all eyes were on Jeremy Coors. I mean, he led all but I believe 10 laps around the Iowa Speedway. So what an incredible event. And man, it was pretty awesome to come out here and just let it all hang loose for a night.
Yeah, I should have called it the Jeremy Coors 175 at the end there, but, he basically owns this track and kind of propelled himself to being somewhat of a points issue here coming to the final race next week. As these guys, though, they start to get out of their trucks, we're gonna be looking for them for their post-race interviews, which with that will bring us to our Sticker Cabana post-race show for you guys this evening. Let's see if we can grab our 3rd place finisher of Brooks Durding. Looks like he's on standby. Looks like he's not at the moment. I do apologize. So we're going to have to rotate over to Anthony Crownover, who's currently in 2nd. So we're going to go ahead and grab him. See if we can get him in here for having a quick word. Anthony Crownover, this is Jeremy and Terry in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, sir, I do.
Hey, congratulations on that 2nd place performance. Pretty dominant truck, just one shy of the guy who was on a whole different zip code. But what a gift you were given there with the issues with Benoit and Cody Porter. Like, you started this race in 3rd place in points, and you're going to come out on top, and you got a pretty decent lead now entering the final race. Tell us about your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out good for me. Um, I guess it kind of made up a little bit for last week. Should have had that W there, but um, at least I still came away with the fourth, so that helped me out. Kind of saved a little bit right there. So you got to get lucky. Um, it's a 4 race playoff, not a one. So you just got to have a good average finish, and I think I have that. Um, I didn't have anything for the 97 on the short run, which is where he was killing me. I think we were about even on the long run. So I guess track position played a lot in that, but still I couldn't keep up with him on the short runs.
Yeah, he was definitely in his own zip code. Walk us through your preparation for tonight. I know each track in the postseason has been completely different from one another. So you can't really translate one setup to another track, this case, because they're all just completely different animals. So what was your preparation going into the semifinal, so to speak, in this Sticker Cabana truck race or truck series?
Well, to be honest with you, I probably didn't do enough. I got the setup about, I think it was an hour before the race, and so when I did the 25-minute practice before the race, and that's about it. So maybe if I put in the work, I could have got a first place.
All right, yeah. So yeah, congratulations though on your second place. So that was pretty damn good performance, I would say. Just kind of kept that truck nice and clean, and yeah, you definitely had some moments to where, like on the restarts, to where you had the opportunity to give a run for Jeremy, at least on the initial start. That is so. But this is your time, man. I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor for your sponsors. Of course, you got some people out there to thank. So go for it, man. Who do you got?
Definitely. Thank you guys, Nerditudes. You guys do an awesome job. Love watching the broadcast back. My race team, Pro Rev, and Connor Hazel. He's an awesome race team manager. MSR, also with Cody Porter, awesome setup guy. He builds all the sets, so I gotta definitely thank him. And just the Fuel League. It's a good league. They try to do their best at it, and I just had a fun year so far. I'm ready to go get them next week.
Hell yeah, man! Keep that spirit up. Good luck next week, and maybe we'll see you in the booth celebrating the championship trophy. Who knows, man? But yeah, good luck. Go get them.
Sounds good to me. Good night, fellas.
Good night, man. So once again, that was your second place finisher of this evening, Anthony Crownover. I was hoping to get word of Brooks Dirting. I currently still don't see him. So, Terry, we're going to have you go ahead and lead off the interview with tonight's race winner, Mr. Jeremy Kors. We bring him into the booth right now. Kors, you get a copy, man.
Yes, I do.
Man, not the guy I wanted to talk to. What's up, man? It's Terry.
Hey, Terry. How's it going, man?
Well, you about put me to sleep up here with the dominating performance that you had going on there. You did you not want to give anything to anybody else this afternoon?
I mean, I I would love to, but that's not in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just not that's not possible during the playoffs. I needed all the points I could get. I don't even know what the bonuses are. I wanted to lead every single lap. That was my goal. I don't think I did it, but yeah, that was I was real confident about Iowa. It's one of my favorite tracks, so it was a lot of fun today.
Well, are you confident about Indy too? Because I need to know whether or not I should drink a couple energy drinks before I come into the show, or just stay tired.
Not as confident about Indy, but we'll get there. By the end of the week, I will be, hopefully.
Well, you had the magic setup here, and I don't know if you have the Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson line of the Golden Horseshoe in your ass, but you had something here tonight. Any secrets you want to share with people out there that's maybe building a setup? It's like, damn, this dude just put on an ass whooping on these guys. You got anything for him? Maybe like a tip of the trade, or what you did with the camper or something?
The only thing I won't get into any specifics, but the only thing I will say is build it for the bottom. Build it for the bottom of the track. Yep. Your tires will thank you on the long run.
Well, I mean, Anthony Crownover was matching you on the long run. You had the fire off speed. What do you think you could have done different for the longer run when we got to about 30, 35 laps into it, where you kind of started evening out at about a 34-7, 34-8 time frame?
24/7. And
Whatever.
yeah, I mean, I could have pushed it harder, to be honest with you. That's one thing that I could have done, but I was focused on not making mistakes, maintaining my gap, trying to pull that gap a little bit by a little bit instead of getting it all within, you know what I'm saying, like pushing the truck to the max when I didn't have to. That's something that I feel like I've learned the hard way this year. I've had some races that I probably could have won, should have won, whatever. You know, every driver will say that. I get it, but just being patient, driving the track, taking what the truck gives you, and just being consistent. And that was my main thing. But I mean, I probably could have pushed it harder there if I really needed to. I don't think I just, again, I didn't want to make a mistake. I felt like tonight, the way, as confident as I was coming in, the only way I was going to lose was if I beat myself. And I wanted to make sure that didn't happen.
Well, they said that you talk about how the Martin Sports gloves make you faster. How does it feel now knowing that you just won another pair tonight?
Oh, it feels fantastic. Let me tell you, I will take as many pairs as I can get. But you did ask me earlier, Terry. The first thing you asked me was, was there anything you could give people tonight? Well, guess what? Anthony Crownover is going to be the proud recipient of my gloves tonight, so I will give that to him.
That's what I'm talking about. Round of applause for the man giving the gloves.
Yep, man, listen, I've got so many pairs of them, and I've got a couple custom ones coming soon. So, I want as many people wearing these things as possible because they need to experience it, Terry. I mean, it's like chef's kiss, like perfect.
I'm in the same boat you are, man. I got 2 pairs of gloves I just ordered through him that we're going to do a giveaway to here soon. But the floor is all yours. Talk about all your sponsors and talk about your snooze fest too while you're at it.
Well, again, we'll start with that. We'll start with, I didn't think it was a snooze fest. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Of course,
but I don't know. Terry's hard to please. It's fine.
Very.
But we got. No, it was the first thing I want to talk about is I just want to thank all my teammates at Team Lunatic, Matt Lee, Daniel Hendra, Clint Stone, Tristan Evil, the guys that really, really, really put in a lot of the work with me every week in building these setups, helping me get them fast. Derek Rice, Jordan Spoon. I mean, everybody over there at Team Lunatic, man, seriously, that it wouldn't be possible if I didn't have great teammates. And I do. I have fantastic teammates, and that's why that we were able to be so fast. Let's talk about Martin Sports. Obviously, I want to thank everybody over there. Shout out to them. MartinSports906.com. Get yourself some sim racing gloves. They got socks coming soon. They got all kinds of stuff over there, man. All the best sim racing apparel in the business. MartinSports906.com. Check them out. Makoni Setup Shop. I do build truck setups for Makoni, so this could be. I mean, you could take this as a preview for what might be coming next week when the officials go to Iowa. So this setup will maybe not this exact setup. I got to base it out a little bit because the conditions might be different. I don't know. I haven't checked if it's night or day or whatever. But version of this will be available at MakoniSetupShop.com next week. So shout out to them. Shout out to everybody who supports me. Shout out to you guys for putting on a fantastic broadcast every week. Congratulations on all your new partnerships over at Nerditudes, by the way. Super cool to see. And shout out to you, Terry, for sleeping through my win. That's just awesome, man.
I had an ice cream bar, but I'm glad you mentioned Makoni Setup Shop, Jeremy. It's your setup, but it's going to be everybody else's victory, and it was your victory here tonight. And from one Jeremy to the host of the show, we'll head it on back to Jeremy Stanley for the conclusion of a great race, and I would say a boring fest from old Jeremy Course here at Iowa.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate all the kind words, Jeremy. Congratulations once again, and go get them in Indianapolis.
I hope so. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Which that was your winner for tonight's race, presented by Martin Sports. And Terry, I don't see Brooks available for the interview, so that's going to wrap up your post race interviews. Like to once again go over the sponsors that let us be here and call the action for you guys each and every week, so you can see our faces. First off, we got the Sticker Cabana Truck Series presented by Sticker Cabana. That's your series sponsor. Your die-cut stickers, huge collection, high quality. Go check them out, stickercabana.com. You got Martin Sports. Of course, we just ran through Martin Sports right there, so no other things need to be said, really. Just, go to their website, discount code Fired Up. Get yourself 20% off of anything off the website. Buttkicker.com. Also use code Fired Up at checkout. It's going to save you 20% on a D-Box-like seat sitting on your computer chair. Or underneath it, rather. So it's an awesome experience, tested by a lot of people out there in the sim world. It's almost like a must-have for your sim rig. So go ahead and grab one for yourself. Buttkicker.com for code Fired Up. And then you got NatureMed, iFlag iRacing, and Swift Lifestyles, our other affiliates for this evening. Awesome products there across the board. With the iRacing, iFlag, you got the sim lights that kind of, represent the track field, the flickering of the green, the yellows, the whatever you got there. NatureMed, your medication marijuana to kind of help you out with PTSD, this and that. And then Swift Lifestyles with the energy drink powder. Tons of flavors, backed by lots of gamers out there and sim racers alike, including ourselves here at Nerditudes. So go and check them out. And that's it, Terry. I appreciate you coming on board with us tonight. It was a hell of a time. I know you kind of snoozed off with Jeremy's awesome performance, but I mean, I'm sure he appreciates those kind words, so to speak. But we'll do it one more time with him in Indianapolis to wrap up the finale of the inaugural season of the Sticker Cabana Truck Series. And great to have you on here, man.
It's good to be here. Get the name. I'm T-Rex over at Martin Sports and his server, and I'm Pterodactyl over here. So it's good for a little play on words, and yeah, it's good to come out here and very laid back. I enjoy this to end my week, and I'll take 2 nights off and hang out with the wife, and I'll see everybody back Sunday for Sim Max, and then we'll be back here next Thursday night.
It's going to be awesome, man. All right. You guys have a good night out there. Stay safe, and we'll catch you at the track for the finale of the Fired Up Esports League Sticker Cabana Truck Series. You guys have a good night out there. Stay safe.